Welcome to the third day of my cruise aboard the beautiful Anthem of the Seas, and to the first port day, which is in La Rochelle in France. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to get to the city from the port and some of the things to see in this picturesque place. As the port is a distance from the city, there's a free shuttle, but if you want to get off early, you're going to need to get a ticket the previous day. As I had a late morning shuttle, I went to the Windjammer and I caught it during changeover between breakfast and lunch. The buffet on Royal Caribbean are highly regarded, and I was impressed with the sheer amount and variety of food available. As I hoped to find some French cuisine in the port later on, I decided to have a classic American cheeseburger. Did I actually have French food? Well, let's wait and see. And I will say that I thought that the burger was really tasty. I then disembarked the ship and walked over to where the shuttle buses were. And don't forget to make a note of what time the last shuttle back is. It then took just over 15 minutes to get to La Rochelle. And as I went through the port, I saw the first signs of German World War II defences. More of that to come. The coach drop-off is at Place de Verdun by the St. Louis Cathedral. I headed right past the cathedral and down the hill, which seemed the most logical route to Vieux-Port or the Old Harbour. These medieval archways protected the stalls of local traders from bad weather, but nowadays they're used by pedestrians as shelters as they go about their business. This is Big Clock Gate, which had its construction started back in the 13th century and was the fortified entrance to the city from the port. And it's now a very popular place for tourists to visit. La Rochelle is located on the west coast of France in the Bay of Biscay. The earliest known human inhabitants here were the Romans, and La Rochelle means Little Rock in English. Standing guard at the entrance of the old port are relics of the past. There are 3 towers which were constructed to keep hostile warships from attacking the city. And I'll show you around them a little later on in this video. I then started to walk around the harbour before heading to the small side streets. It felt like quite a bustling place for a Tuesday afternoon. I then crossed this small bridge into another pedestrianised area, which was lined with small cafes and bars. Before heading back to the harbour to check out all these small boats. And I could see that the Ferris wheel was just ahead. And I was starting to feel a little bit peckish. But what caught my eye wasn't a pretty little French cafe serving delicious seafood, but this hot dog place called Frank's. There was a good choice of hot dogs and there was a screen to order from. It had an English language option, which made things easier as the staff only spoke French, and my French really isn't all that. It also had these delicious looking sweet treats too. The hot dog was very tasty and the guacamole was actually incredible. Maybe I'll have some more authentic French food when I'm back on the ship. And after that culinary detour, it was time to get back to the plan. The Ferris wheel is known as Le Grand Rue de La Rochelle and takes you 40 metres up into the sky. It costs €6 or about a fiver for 3 revolutions and is actually a lot of fun. From up here there are fantastic views of the harbour and the city. And I could easily make out the 3 towers, which is where I was heading to next. And after getting off the Ferris wheel, it was time to head over to the first of the towers. The first of the towers is St Nicholas Tower, whose construction was completed in 1376. And as you can see, the tower leans due to the unstable ground it was built on. I do wonder if there was something to do with what these workers were up to. And there's a working modern day lighthouse opposite. And then I spent some time soaking in these harbour views. La Rochelle is such a picturesque place. I then stopped off at the famous pub for a rather expensive bottle of Coke Zero. The next tower is the Chain Tower, which was named after an actual chain which was stretched across to the St Nicholas Tower at the port entrance to close the harbour off from unwanted ships. And the tower was constructed between 1382 and 1390. I decided to head inside to check out the views, grab another drink and watch this small ship sail into the harbour. This is what cruising is all about for me, complete relaxation, somewhere I really wouldn't think of visiting any other way. And the third and final of the towers is up on these ramparts. This is the Lantern Tower, which started as a lighthouse guiding ships into the harbour and then became a prison. The Lantern Tower is the only medieval lighthouse on the Atlantic coast that's still standing. If we were here for longer, we would have bought a pass that lets you into all 3 towers for about €13 or £9. Unfortunately, I just didn't have the time. I then headed back towards the bus stop to get on the shuttle to the ship for tonight's entertainment. Here you can see the German U-boat pens where the submarines would launch to attack Allied shipping during World War II. It was also the filming locations for Das Boot and Raiders of the Lost Ark, but sadly not open to the general public. And once on board, I headed back up to the Windjammer in the faint hope of finding some French food, but instead I located the British classics of pork pie and Scotch eggs. I'd never seen these on a cruise ship before, even on a British cruise line, so that made me very happy. Much appreciated, Royal Caribbean. And while sailing away, I saw the huge concrete U-boat pens right in the centre of the dock. Afterwards, I chilled out in the solarium for a while, before heading to the final showing of We Will Rock You. The app had incorrectly shown that it was going to be the Magician in the Royal Theatre tonight, so it wasn't very busy unfortunately. And I moved down to the front just before showtime so I'd have a better view. We Will Rock You is a Queen-inspired musical which was written by Ben Elton and debuted in London's West End in 2002. And since then it's toured all over the world. When Anthem of the Seas was launched in 2015, We Will Rock You debuted, and it's been a headline show ever since. It features Queen classics such as Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Radio Gaga, We Are the Champions, and of course, We Will Rock You. And for fellow Brits, you may recognise the cast member who plays Pop in the show, seen here on the left, as Kevin Kennedy, better known as Curly Watts in Coronation Street. I knew that I recognised him, I just couldn't work it out at first. I've seen plenty of shows on cruise ships and I can honestly say that this was one of the best. The songs and performance were absolutely excellent, please don't miss out on this one. And the show's finale was a rapturous version of Bohemian Rhapsody. What a way to end an evening. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on.